We live in the age of social media, and I probably don't have to tell you that social media can make relationships, sex, and dating very complicated. It can become more complicated sometimes when one party in the relationship is keeping touch with their ex on social media. In today's video, I want to respond to a viewer who's wondering how to deal with the fact that his wife is connecting with her exes on social media. My name is Zachary Stockill, and since 2013, I've been helping men and women from all over the world overcome retroactive jealousy, overcome obsessive jealousy, and save their relationships. If you'd like more information about my work or you'd like to work with me one-on-one, please visit my website at retroactivejealousy.com. Okay, I received a note recently from someone we'll call P. P writes, "My wife's past haunts me. Is it possible to overcome retroactive jealousy if your wife keeps reconnecting to her exes on social media?" Thanks for your message, P. My first question back to you, and I would have many questions for you if we were, if this was a one-on-one coaching call. So keep in mind that I don't know you, obviously, I don't know your wife, I don't know the situation. So these are just theories, these are just ideas, because I don't know the specifics of your situation. But with that said, my first question to you would be, why is your wife keeping in touch with her exes on social media? Why is she doing this? Why is she reconnecting with her exes? I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a cause for concern. I'm not saying it's not a cause for concern. The question is why? Now, this might be worth a conversation. It doesn't have to be a really big, heavy, intense, dramatic conversation. It can simply be, what do you think about that? Why do you want to do this? What do you think about me doing that as well and keeping in touch with my exes? Have an open and honest conversation about this kind of thing and just kind of get a feel for where you each stand on this issue. Because some people really lack empathy, like really lack empathy. And what I mean by that is some people aren't even aware of their own double standards. For example, someone's keeping in touch with their ex on social media. If you ask them, well, how would you feel if I was doing that? Some people have not even thought of that before, not really. And once they finally, consider that thought, how would I feel if someone was doing this to me? They might change their own perspective. So it's worthy of a calm and rational discussion. But I'll also say, as I've said many times in this channel, that social media is very complicated. This is a brand new invention for our species. It's really only been around for 15 years, something like that. Brand new. The implications of this we're still figuring out, and we're all trying to figure out the best way to do it. Is it really wise to keep in touch with our grade 8 girlfriend or our grade 12 boyfriend or our ex-husband or our ex-wife or whatever? My own theory on this, in case you're curious, maybe you're not, but I'll share it anyway. My own theory on sort of keeping in touch with exes is I think it should be pretty limited, personally. If I was dating a woman and she was best friends with her exes all the time, and they were messaging all the time, and they were, liking each other's stuff on social media endlessly and all the rest, for me personally, I'm not trying to project this on anyone else, I'm speaking personally, for me, that would constitute a red flag. For me, that would constitute a discussion, or at least some questions like, why are you doing this? What's going on here? What need are you trying to fill by keeping in touch with this person? But on the other hand, I'll also share very personally that me, as a man, I have a couple of my exes who are more like sisters now, because it's been so long ago and they've become kind of friends, with my family and stuff, and there's no sexual tension, there's nothing. I don't want them, they don't want me, nobody wants to get back together. And it's not like we're best friends and messaging at each other all the time, but there's an occasional hello, at an event, or an occasional, email, once every few years or something like that. I don't see that as a big deal. I'm not, betraying my current girlfriend's trust or anything like that. My point is, we're all going to have slightly different perspectives on this. We're all going to have slightly different relationships with our exes. And it's worth talking to your wife to get a handle on why she's doing what she's doing. So to go back to my example, the reason that I'm keeping in touch to some extent with a couple of my exes, if you can even call it keeping in touch, is simply, well, they've become friends of my family. And I'll see them out, at certain events sometimes or whatever. There's no sexual tension, there's nothing like that. It's more just kind of like an effort to be friendly on my part, but not too friendly, because I think that would be disrespectful to my current girlfriend. I'm currently in a monogamous relationship. We have our own boundaries and values, which we've discussed very clearly. And I'm not going to betray those boundaries and values by, liking every one of my ex's pictures and sending inappropriate messages to her and all the rest. Another idea, keeping in mind I don't know you, I don't know your wife, I don't know the situation. There are some people who use their exes to kind of fulfill some emotional needs in their life, whether it's a need for attention or a need for some kind of sexual attention sometimes, like they want to kind of keep the door open, so to speak. The relationship ended on kind of unclear terms and they kind of just want to keep that option slightly available. They want to lead people on, Again, I don't know your wife, I don't know you, but there are some people like this where they use social media as kind of a tool for maintaining constant attention and validation and, all these things. And to my mind, that's indicative of really deep problems in the relationship, in your current relationship. I'm not saying this is your fault. I'm saying your wife, if this fits her description, needs to take a long, hard look at herself and say, what am I doing here? Why am I acting this way? What needs am I trying to fill here outside of my relationship? Is there a way that I can fulfill these needs on my own and in my current relationship rather than looking to my exes for attention, validation, and all the rest? But the bottom line is, I think you should talk about this with your wife and get very clear on your own boundaries and values on this topic. A lot of people don't really think about this stuff unless it comes up like this in a very direct way. But it's really worthwhile to sit down with your partner and certainly journal on your own and think about, what does monogamy mean to me? What does a monogamous relationship mean to me? How can I structure my life in a way so that my monogamous relationship is kind of a container for all of my sexual needs and my needs for intimacy and human connection and all the rest? Because people say the term monogamy and they don't realize that many people have very, very, very different ideas about this term. In fact, the literal definition of this term involves having sex with one person in your entire life, right? Which in the 21st century describes approximately, 0.0000001% of the human population. Not saying it's good or bad, it simply is. So it's worthwhile to really think about what monogamy means to you. To what extent are you going to cast aside exes? You're going to sort of keep that nonsense and drama out of your life. You're going to cut off certain connections from your past. To what extent do you want your relationship to serve as a vessel for all the intimacy and sex and all the rest that you want in your life? Period. And finally, if your wife or your partner is connecting with their ex on social media and they share a child, obviously that's probably, pretty different. Maybe they need to keep in touch about whatever, the kids' appointments or their progress in school or whatever. That's obviously a very different discussion. And I think if your partner has a kid with their ex, I think you should really try to be as understanding as possible, realizing that in many ways they don't have a choice. They have to keep in touch with their ex for the purposes of their child. So there you have it. Hope you found this useful. And if you did find this useful, please take a minute to let me know by clicking the like button below. Please also make sure to leave a comment beneath this video telling me what you think. And while you're at it, please be sure you are subscribed to my channel as well to be notified of new videos moving forward. Thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you again very soon.